I'm Mike Jefferson. I'm Director of Employment and Training here at the Crispus Attucks Association. I've been in this position, this is my 28th year now. Actually, I found Crispus Attucks by accident. I was living in Lancaster. I just moved from Philadelphia. I had a brother in Lancaster. I heard about a job in York, Pennsylvania, which I had never heard of before. I heard of York peppermint patties, but that's about it. I decided to apply for it. The early years were, again, a learning experience for me. Coming from a city like Philadelphia, and I'd worked in Atlanta, Georgia, and Boston, Massachusetts. So it was a little smaller environment, and it took me a while to adjust to that small city environment. But I liked it because Crispus Attucks and York in particular had sort of a family atmosphere to it. And York was unique. I was used to minorities being in positions of power or authority or supervisory positions. But York at that time, and we're talking about the mid-'80s, was still, in my mind, sort of back in the '60s, pre-civil rights era. There were not a lot of minorities in upper management positions, which is one of the reasons the Center for Employment and Training was initiated through a partnership with the city of York. And the idea was to try to help minorities break into the mainstream business community, which at that time, minorities basically, they worked in retail, maybe they worked in manufacturing, but again, it's sort of the lower level positions. Well, the early years of my program were interesting. I was titled the director of the employment center, or employment center supervisor. And I remember walking up into a room and I asked, well, where's the staff? Who am I supervising? And they told me. And so that was the hardest part, trying to supervise me. And then sort of putting a program together from scratch. I had a lot of help with the Enterprise Foundation out of Columbia, Maryland, which sort of gave me some parameters. But pretty much it was just putting together a program that would help people improve their quality of life through work and just learning the ins and outs of the York business community. Going back to that beginning, and I remember exactly, I started on October 6, 1986, even though I volunteered a week prior to that. I think Bobby Simpson didn't think maybe I could really get into this job, so he made me volunteer for a week. But I watched people. I started learning about the culture. I started learning about the city of York and the mentality that people had that the best I'm ever going to do is, again, these sort of entry-level jobs, and maybe I'll get to work in a place where I might can make at least minimum wage. And so, you know, it was sort of tough early on with my expectations of where people could go, regardless of their race or their ethnicity, whatever it might be. That if you want to work and you have the qualifications, you should be able to work anywhere. And I was like, what is going on? Is it because they're minorities? Is it because they're the newest employees, the lowest on the totem pole? That was some of it. But a lot of our folks weren't succeeding because they did not really understand the world of work. And so I decided that I have to do something different. And we started doing workshops and we started doing things to better prepare this population and to understand what it means to work, what it means to be a good employee, what it means to be early so you're on time so you're not late, and if you're late, you're going to be fired. And so that was sort of the genesis of moving the Crispus Attucks Employment Center and making it into the Crispus Attucks Center for Employment and Training, which has now evolved into an operation that has served thousands of individuals, white, black, Hispanic, throughout York County, to serve now youth. We started with just the adult population, but now our major focus is on youth and young adults, 17 to 21. We added in a component recently to serve what we call our senior citizens, our seasoned citizens, 55 and over. That has become one of the major components of the Center for Employment and Training. We added in a piece to serve pregnant and parenting teens throughout York County school districts. So we've become a very comprehensive, and one of my pet initiatives is to always focus on diversity. Uh, Again, CA started out as a minority operation for African American community back in the 30s when they couldn't access the majority, population and community organizations in York. But now it's grown into one of the most diverse, comprehensive organizations you're going to find anywhere. It's white, black, Hispanic, working together to improve the quality of life for economically, socially challenged individuals. I'm Michael D. Jefferson, Director of Employment and Training, and I am CA.
I am Crispus Attucks.
Oh, I got to. Oh, can I just say that? I got to go back through it. I am Crispus Attucks.
Smile.